Okay guys, welcome back to another video. So today I'm going to talk about how you can solve indecision. So if you're anything like me, a lot of the time you will get really indecisive about something. So you kind of want to do one thing, but like you're not sure, or should I do the other thing? You kind of stuck between two decisions, and you don't really have a mechanism as to how to solve this, and it's really annoying. So just to give an example, like there's something that's happened to me in the past where like you're invited to something that's out of your way, right? And you want to go, but on the one hand, you want to go, but on the other hand, you think it's a long way to go. Like I'm spreading myself too thin, I shouldn't go, and like you keep switching between the two things. On the one hand, like it'd be great to see everyone, blah, blah, blah. But then I can save all this time and do YouTube with it or whatever it is, and you just don't know how to make a decision with it. And this is how I've decided to deal with it from now on in my life, and it's really good. It's really good. So basically, the first thing you need to do is to realise that you're not going to arrive at a final decision. That up to this point, you haven't developed the mechanism in your life to arrive at to deal with this kind of decision making. You're just not going to feel sure about either option. And the sort of steps I'm going to go through for you, they're not going to be so much about deciding, solving your indecision in this specific case, but it's more going to be about making sure that using this opportunity so that the next time you're in this situation, you will make the right decision. Because I think what a lot of people try to do when they try to solve indecision is they'll like journal sort of pros and cons. And I'm not a massive fan of this. Well, I am, but I think for the purposes of deciding what you're going to do, pros and cons, I don't know about you, but for me, it just confuses you even more. So basically, the first step in this is to accept that you're not going to arrive at a final decision with regards to what you want to do. So what you do is you write down pros and cons on a sheet of paper. So pros, I don't know, for this example, it'll be a nice time to see everyone. Cons, it's out of my way, and I've got to spend money to go. And you do this, blah, blah, blah. Or maybe just journal it out in a free flow way, like whatever works best for you. Really try and exhaust that as much as possible. Now, when you're done with the pros and cons or the journaling, whatever it is, hold on to that. So, if you haven't already, I advise you to keep a journal of some description, have it written in that, or keep it somewhere where you're going to be able to refer back to it. And what you're going to do is basically the next time you have these exact thoughts, you'll have something to refer back to because you've written it down, and the sort of thought patterns you go off will you'll remember. So anyway, the next thing you do after you've sort of stored it somewhere is to make a decision. And at this point, it doesn't matter what decision you're going to make. Just realise that you might regret whatever decision you make. So I generally go for the one that you feel like you shouldn't do, but want to do anyway. So, for example, you want to go to this party, but you should stay. In this instance, even if really you should say, go to this party, right? And then watch it blow up in your stupid face, basically. Because that's kind of part of it, is you want to learn from the experience, and you can't learn without regrets. So that's probably what's going to happen. Or you don't regret it, and even better, you happen to make the right decision. But no matter what happens, you've journaled about it, so now you know kind of the state of your mind, and you know so the result of what happens. So you'll have something to refer back to next time you're in this situation, and that will guide you much better. So it's not great. It's not like it's a very long term solution, but I think there's no way to really solve indecision in the short term. So this is your best bet, really. This doesn't work for like big decisions. If you've got some big life changing decision like, I don't know who you're gonna marry, this video is probably not very helpful. But for me, what I realise is like, it's not the decision itself that I'm having that's the problem, but it's the wider problem of like I'm constantly having this moment where I'm not able to decide on any two courses of action. That's the bigger picture, and it's much better if I can solve my mechanism for deciding in these situations, rather than this one-time thing, you know, of, it doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things what I decide here and now, but more that I just have I have my priorities sort of more straight in my head, and long term I stop getting myself into these kind of situations. So that's how I go about it. And I think that's the other thing to mention is, if you're indecisive, it probably means you don't have real focus on what you're doing in life. And I definitely rate that myself. So that's something that's worth sort of journaling, in the sort of journaling stage of this, is like, what do I actually want out of life? Like, what's my sort of priorities? That can be really helpful to sort of focus you with it. So anyway, guys, I hope this video was helpful, and I'll see you in the next one.